Okay, in this video we've got Porsche 944 steering rack, and it's a power steering rack, and I'm going to show you how to disassemble and depower the steering rack. So what I've got here is I've already obviously taken off the tie rods from this end and this end, so the tie rods have been removed. I've also removed the power steering fluid tubes, the in and the out, and several disconnected. So I removed this from the vehicle. I also cleaned it as much as I could before we get started. But this would be up in, this is where the steering column shaft mounts. So as you remove it, and if you're interested in depowering it, then remove it from the vehicle, take off all the tubes, and you can see here's one here and then these back here. I removed all these. This one is still on the vehicle, and then this is the inlet, and then of course these are connected to the actual unit itself, but I removed these. And for depowering it, I'm going to seal all these, and I'm not going to, some guys will take the existing tubes and cut them and pinch them just to block out any kind of dirt or dust. I'm going to find a different way to seal these so that I can keep the original tubes intact in case I ever do want to go back to full power steering. Okay, so these are the mounting brackets. I highly recommend that you do clean the unit before you start doing the depowering piece, but as we'll take it apart, and I've already disassembled this and reassembled it, but just for this video I'm going to take it back apart. So this is a spring-loaded cover. This keeps the shaft, keeps tension on the shaft. So just removing this. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a cover. Here's the spring, so we want to make sure that stays there. The next piece that you want to do is you want to take this top off. I'm hoping you can see this. Just pull that off. That's just a cover. And then remove these 3 bolts. Let me just check the camera to make sure you can see this. Yeah. There's 3 bolts here. And again, I've already removed these. But for the sake of the video, so remove these. This should just pop off. Set that there. And then this will pull out. So it might twist a little bit as it comes out, but keep everything intact here. Oops, it's giving me a little bit of trouble, and I'm not sure why here. Yeah, here it comes. Okay. You might have to turn it a little bit. Holy smokers, this is in there tight. Okay. 1 second. There we go. So you just have to turn that and it comes right out. But keep everything intact as you pull this out. We're going to grease that up later. Make sure you don't lose any of those little ball bearings in there as well, okay? Keep that intact. Alright, so there's another little ring in here, another little bearing ring. I'm hoping you can see this. But that little bearing ring right there, see it moving around? I just keep that in there. I just leave it in there. We'll grease it up later. Okay, and then the more difficult part, that's kind of the easy part, taking those 2 apart. The more difficult part is going to be removing this. And you can see I beat mine up pretty good. But you want to take a punch and this will actually unscrew. So this will turn by itself first. And once you get it, then you can just unscrew this housing here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then it should just slide off. Be very careful. Slide that off. Set that over there. And then the shaft should pull out. Okay, boom. Now you've got your unit here and the shaft. And then this shaft we're going to clean. And the part we're going to remove to depower it and still keep the smoothness and steering, let me get a towel here, is this part right there. We're going to remove this section. There's a circlip. I don't know if you can see that. There's a circlip right there on that side and on this side. We're going to remove those two and remove that off of there. Okay. I'm just going to wipe this down a little bit. This is all going to be greased as well before we put it back together. This needs to remain very smooth. Now, in removing this, you don't want to scratch this if you can help it. So I'm going to try this kind of plier here and see if this actually works. So alright, having a little trouble with this thing. Let me come back to you. I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Let me come back to you in a minute. Okay. I've had to use several tools to get this little, and you can see the band-aid, poke myself. But, oh, and I obviously cut myself there. So be careful, but had to use several tools to get this off. And then what we have here is basically this ring, and you be real gentle, slide it off. If you try too hard, it's going to wedge itself, and then you won't get it off. And then, of course, this also, slide it off nice and easy. Now I have one more circlip to do there on this side. I don't know if you can see that. And then to get this one off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then come back to you with the lubrication and reassembly. Okay? Okay, I'm back because I wanted to show you one more thing here. There were two rubber rings that fit right in here. Two rubber rings that fit right in there. I took those two rubber rings off, and then I slid this over. And this is very difficult, or at least it was on mine, because it's so tight. Any little crookedness makes it very difficult to get off. I also lubed this with WD-40, and then now I just have to remove this circlip. Okay, and then I will probably put the rubber rings back in there just to make it a little smoother. So be back in a second with the next steps. Okay, the shaft is now complete. This bearing, which is like this, is now removed. Circlips there. I'm definitely going to save all this in case I go back to complete power steering. But we're now ready to grease, and I've got some Mobil 1 synthetic grease. I'm going to go ahead and do all of this. 1 second. Okay. Little unorthodox, but this is what I used to get that piece all the way in, and then I'm going to drive it home with a punch and a hammer after I install this last piece. Okay, spring goes in. Make sure that's in tight, and then this piece goes on. And then these are just 10 millimeters. So okay, so I'll get a 10 millimeter, secure the top, bottom, these two. I still have to seal up these holes, here, 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 and here. And actually, yeah, so, and then, oops, so, and then that's it. That is a depowered power steering. And this is really driving me crazy here, so I'll probably just take this off and seal that up too. Okay, and there you have it. Alright, next thing is I'll put the tie rods on and then reinstall it in the car. Thanks for watching.
I can't